Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. We're here at West Carter High School on a snow day, guys. But they welcomed us in, they fed us.
Yeah.
We fed them, so we'll give and take. Speaking of that, check out the Chick-fil-A ticker at the bottom of your screen. You'll see top 10 in each category in the area in terms of statistics. And you know, so many teams are reporting stats now that, I mean, it's a good representation right here. You see the top 10 in each category on boys and girls. But we're going to bring in Coach Jeremy Webb here in a little bit, and 3 players, Ben Jordan, Hayden Rowe, and Dalton Brown. But first, let's recap the Super Bowl a little bit. What were you doing during the Super Bowl, Matt?
I was eating.
You were tweeting.
I was eating mostly.
You were eating and tweeting.
Yes, eating and tweeting.
What about you, Zach?
EW2, eating while tweeting.
Eating while tweeting?
Yeah.
Is that?
I was just reading.
That's got to be illegal.
It should be. I was reading Matt's tweets is what I was doing. So.
Yeah, well, they were hilarious.
Some of them were.
If you checked out the Wright Bros.
Some of them were. Come on.
Yep.
If you checked out the Wright Bros DI on Twitter the other night, as we advised you to do last week on the show, then you got a good dose of entertainment, I think. I hope. I don't know. Really, nobody really liked our tweets. I think we were just tweeting at each other.
Yeah, that's basically right. A little bit of audience interaction. Hey, shout out to Lane Hughes. You might see him running up and down the floor at one of these.
Yep.
Of course, we got a lot of audience interaction from him, but not a whole lot else. So.
Yeah, he'll be wearing black and white.
Yeah.
One of my favorite commercials was the William Dafoe. I had to look away, but he's one of my favorite actors, but he was wearing a dress or something. I thought it was funny. And I tweeted out, William Dafoe should always wear pants.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, it was really good. I ate before that the commercial came on.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Because it was a little nasty.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
I guess we can.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay.
Balls in their court. Matt, you're going first. Game ball for the last few days.
Thank you.
In case you didn't know what we were doing.
I appreciate that. I'm going to East Carter.
Okay.
It's a little dangerous here. In
We were there last week.
Yeah, I'm going to go East Carter. I'm going with Bailey Brainerd of the Lady Raiders. Really has emerged. I think it's one of the best post players in the region. That was on display, I think, this weekend. East Carter had like a little payback weekend. Defeated Russell and Boyd County. They defeated them earlier in the year. Bailey, back-to-back double-doubles. She's really improved on her offense, but I think really she stands out on defense. Held Maggie Jacobs to one of her lowest point totals of the year. And then against Boyd County, she also had 5 blocks and 3 steals. So I think she deserved my game ball. All
right. I'm going to go Tyler Pack from Johnson Central. Johnson Central took Lawrence County to overtime in Louisa on Saturday night. It was 93-84. Lawrence County won. Timmy Dalton had 33 points, had a great overtime period. But the reason that Johnson Central, aside from Mason Blair's hot shooting, 8 of 16 from three-point range, was Tyler Pack. I think he's really come along. I think he's in that group of the top post players in the region. He's one of them. He's really kind of worked on his footwork, and you can tell he's really rolling to the basket well, setting screens well, making good decisions. He was 8 of 9 from the floor. So I'm going to give my ball to Tyler Pack.
You said footwork. I thought you were going to make a kicker joke.
No, I didn't, but you just did.
No. Well, maybe. Looking at Rose Hill Christian, going off the beaten path a little bit. Right. Nathan Hamilton was one of their big boys, scored 28 points, 18 rebounds last Saturday as they beat Walden. Had his 1,000th career point in that game. They needed every one of them because they gave up 50 points to Mike Harris.
One single player.
Who plays for Walden. But they got 4 points combined from the rest of the team. So kind of I guess we were talking about the Whitney Creech maybe the boys basketball. But Rose Hill picked up its 8th win that night. And if they're able to win their 9th game, they have a couple more shots at that. That will match their win total from the last 6 years combined. So, you know, they're still a little ways off from maybe being competitive in the district and the region, but they're making progress. They get almost everybody back next year, so they may have a shot to make some things interesting next year. They get Menifee County on Friday. That's probably their last best chance at a win. And that's a winnable game for them. They lost at Menifee by 10, I believe it was, a few weeks ago, but they get them again. So we'll go there.
All right. I'm going to pass the ball to the side to Ben Jordan over here. All right. Going to 3-point shot, top 3 games of the weekend. Let's go first. Friday night, Greenup County visits Boyd County. It's a rematch of an earlier game this season. The Boyd County won by 15 points. It was 77-62. I think it'll be a little closer this time, don't you?
Yeah, Boyd has been one of the hottest teams in the region really over the last month and a half or so. But Greenup County has shown flashes of being very competitive. They've got kind of gotten in a bit of a flow. They got some good things inside. A big key, I think, will be how Hunter Kinzer and those guys for Boyd are able to hold up against the Mike Hubbards, kind of defend penetration and defend inside. And, you know, what is Greenup going to try to do to slow down Bobby Anderson? That's a difficult thing to do. A couple of teams have tried some different things, had some degree of success. So, you know, how those guys are able to play. And, you know, you got to guard Gage Hughes all the way out to the volleyball line or out to half court. So what they're able to do. A lot of good individual players in this game, so it'll be kind of up to see how they execute and the positions that the coaches put them in.
Yeah, I mean, Gage Hughes as a sophomore, he's averaging 22 points a game. He's shooting 43% from three-point range. So, you know, you might say that he's streaky, but he's really not. I mean, he's a consistent three-point shooter. He's averaging he's shooting 43% from there. So.
Well, you actually mentioned the word streak. These are probably the two of the streakiest teams we have probably in the region. They love to score points in bunches. You know, you can blink, and one team could be up 10 points all of a sudden. But both teams kind of rely on their defense too. I think, you know, Boyd County loves to create that havoc. They love to get up in your grill and just cause that havoc. And I think that's the reason why you see they have so much success in the second half. It just kind of wears teams down. And I think that's what happens in this game too.
All right, let's move on to Saturday, and then we'll come back to Friday here in a second because we're going to come back right here. But Saturday, Morgan County goes to Rowan County, we think. If the weather permits, Morgan County is going to Rowan County. So that game right there, Rowan County's coming off a win over Ashland. They won 41-38 on Tuesday night. Morgan County, I'm not sure when they played last.
Good question. But Rowan County, one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in the region. Very, very good scoring average there against one of the best individual scorers in the region in Jordan Perry. And it'll be interesting. You know, Sean Thacker likes to try a few different things and mix stuff up. Sometimes you may say, okay, we're going to let Jordan Perry get his and limit everybody else. Or maybe they try some different things, triangle and two, box and one, try to take away some of those guys, Najee Banks, etc. Morgan County supporting cast will be very important in this game.
Michael Prater, Ryan Adams.
Yeah, DJ Sparkman. Whatever they're able to get, if in fact they try to take Perry away, or if you give Perry whatever he wants, they still are going to have to get something from somebody else because Sean Thacker is not going to let Jordan Perry outscore their entire team. But Ashland did some good things as well against Rowan defensively, so pacing will also be important in this game. We'll just kind of see whose style is able to prevail.
And we know that Rowan County has one of the best point guards in the region, and Larry Whalen operates that team very well. And now he's got an extra guy in the middle he can throw to, and Derek Williams, who's back from injury.
I'm going to piggyback on what Zach said. I think we should probably start take a note before the game.
That couldn't hurt, right?
We also, it seemed like we had to talk about the same thing. But you say how if it plays out, Morgan's finished the season. Now, I know they canceled, I think now with Lawrence County. They were going to finish with Lawrence and Rowan County, Elliott County, and McGoffin County. McGoffin County has become one of the contenders in the 15th region.
Right.
I think when you have a matchup of superstars, it comes down to role players. I think a role player here and there will make a big play. I think that could make the difference in the game. Also, Rowan County, this is their last home game of the season. So there'll be a lot of emotion, a lot of energy inside that building, and I think maybe Rowan County can pull it out at the end.
Okay, I'm going to pick Morgan County in the game. Anyway, let's go back here Friday.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine. That's fine.
Lewis County at West Carter. And I'm going to let you go first so he doesn't steal your notes over here. Okay. What are your thoughts?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, you know, this is kind of the battle of skyscrapers. You got Ben Jordan and Hayden Rowe, very tall gentlemen there, and also with the Lewis County, you got Jacob Keebler and Jerry McCann.
Yep.
So it's going to be a great matchup to look for. I give the edge to Rowe and Ben Jordan. I think they've stepped up their game this season. You know, Lewis has kind of been hit or miss. West has really kind of stepped up here at the end. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. I think in this building, I think they're going to be too tough to beat.
I think Lewis County, like I said before the show, is one of those teams that can beat anybody, but can also lose to anybody, especially when they're dealing with an injury like they are now with Trenton Walker.
Yeah, Trenton Walker obviously is huge for them. It kind of leads into another point. West and Lewis both have some size, but they use it differently offensively. Lewis's size is very defensive-oriented. They like to use – Joe Hampton's gone to kind of that zone a little bit, which you're able to do when you have a lot of size. You don't get a whole lot done inside. They don't give them Keebler and his running mate inside. Don't give them a ton offensively most of the time. They're very guard oriented from their offense, Parker and Walker. So where Walker is in terms of recovering from, he's had a series of injuries, illnesses, etc. Where he is in return from that will be very important for them. and who is able to use their size inside to do what they want to do, whether it's offensively or defensively trying to take that away. So that should be when West has the ball versus Lewis defensively is where that size on size will be really interesting to see who's able to do what they want to do.
Yeah, and West Carter coming off a really hot shooting night against Russell.
Well, I was just getting ready to say that. If West is making shots, they're just very tough to beat because, where Jordan and Rowan create so much attention was when leave Dalton Brown and to hit that three he liked so much.
Yeah, and he had 20 points against Russell. So let's talk to those three guys and Coach Webb. Here inside the gym here at the West Carter High School, John Hot Brown Court, of course, and joined by Jeremy Webb, the boys basketball coach here at West Carter for 10 seasons now, right, Coach?
10th season, that's right. It's gone fast for sure.
And we're going to bring in Ben Jordan and Dalton Brown and Hayden Rowe in here in just a little bit. First of all, thanks for letting us come down here.
No problem.
You guys are having a great season so far. Been somewhat of a surprise to people maybe outside of Olive Hill, but did you expect this kind of success?
I did. I really felt like last year was going to be a better year than what we really had, but it was just because of youth and a lack of strength, and lack of just overall experience. And this year our guys are playing much stronger, much more relaxed, and just overall, playing a lot better basketball.
Now, I saw a picture the other day. It looked like you were doing like the electric slide. So did you break out some dance moves on the sideline?
I was hoping you were going to bring that up. Everybody has given me a hard time about that, but I was showing Nathan exactly what was taking place, and I just don't think he was understanding what I was trying to, what message I was trying to send.
So you had to demonstrate it.
Absolutely, that's right. And I am the dance teacher at West Carter High School as well. So
breaking news.
Absolutely. So they have really played it up in regards to that as well.
That's awesome. Let's go back to your playing days real quick. We were just talking about it at Morehead State. Hold all kinds of records over there, right?
Absolutely, yeah, 0. did play for Dick Fick for 1 year, and then Kyle Macy for 3 years, and then helped Coach Macy and Wayne Breed and their staff 1 more year before I got done with Morehead and moved on with my life.
But Coach, you did play. You told me you played each position. You started at each position, so not everybody can say that.
I did. I guess I started at least 1 game at every position, even point guard. Started point guard against Florida my sophomore, junior year 1, and we got throttled, beat by about 45 or 50. But hey, I got to play.
You started against Florida.
That's right. That's right.
And since then, you guys have had some good teams over the years here at West Carter. One of your best players, obviously, is now coaching on the other sideline for the girls basketball team, Aaron Rayburn. So it's got to be good to see him, kind of climb into the coaching ranks here.
It is. It's a very good feeling, knowing kids when they get done with your program, they still want to have something to do with basketball. And Aaron was a very good basketball player, and I think he's done a fine job with our girls basketball team this year. I think they've won 8 games, but they're in the mix for our district, and I think they'll be able to get to the regional tournament and get that experience. And they're a young team as well. A lot of people don't. Most people around basketball understand that. I believe they only have 3 seniors, but then they go down and play a lot of 8th graders and freshmen after that. So I think he's done a fine job with them.
Yeah, you mentioned the district, 62nd district here in boys basketball. I mean, it's wild. It really is, and it's going to be wild when the tournament takes place at Elliott County here in a couple weeks. I know there's still another game you got to get in with Morgan County at some point before the season ends. So 1 more game and then the district tournament.
That's right. Still a lot yet to be determined. We're supposed to play Morgan. Elliott has Morgan to play. But the thing about the 62nd district is every game is so competitive. Every game means a lot. You have good crowds and good atmosphere at every district game that we play. And I think that just prepares whoever ends up representing our district in the region. I think that just simply prepares us to be able to go over there and play more relaxed and be ready to compete at that high of a level.
Right. A couple other games remain on your schedule. Lewis County, obviously that's this Friday, and you got Ashland and Bath County as well. So some challenges to get ready for the postseason.
Very much so. Some very difficult games, but obviously they're all at home. So we've played a lot of road games here lately, but weather permitting, we'll get 4 more home games in. And it's just time of year you want to clean up a few little things and try to get some momentum building toward that postseason.
Let's talk about your team specifically. On the court, a team that brings a lot in the middle. You have Ben Jordan and Hayden Rowe kind of holding down the fort there.
Right.
So let's start there. I mean, those guys have been established for you and doing well in the post.
They have. They've done a very good job this year on the interior, and they're the guys that have the most experience, really, along with Braden and Chase. Those guys have played a lot, and Dalton's came in, and and then we have JT coming off the bench, and Dalton Rourke playing good minutes for us as well. But those guys really set the tone. Ben and Hayden, really, those guys with their strength and their size on the interior, their presence in and around the basket. It's just something that each opponent has to prepare for. How are they going to be able to handle those guys on the post and try to keep them from scoring the basketball? And whenever they do that, a lot of times that focus on the interior takes a lot of pressure off of our guards, and that allows them to play more freely.
How much has Braden Brown developed as a point guard?
He's done a really good job. Braden's done a fine job this year. Early in Braden's career, he only had one speed, and that was wide open. He was playing really fast. Braden has that great straight line speed.
Right.
And he would play with that. And then last year we really slowed him down and tried to, make it more of a half-court, slower style of game. But this year he's had a very good balance of understanding when to push the ball in transition, off of miss, off of turnovers, and when to make sure we walk it up the court and get a quality possession on the offensive end.
Here at West Carter, a lot of times you come to a game, you see a lot of the same faces in the crowd, as you do at a lot of high schools in the area. But a couple of the biggest fans, I got to say, Chris Perry, he's here all the time.
Absolutely.
He's here today. Mickey Grills,
Mickey
right?
Grills, that's right.
He's got like a long streak going. So
Listen,
good fans.
Absolutely. We took Mickey with us to Augusta. We played Augusta last Friday, and gymnasium he had not been to. So we're stepping out trying to get Mickey to go some places that he's not been to. But he was on the bus with us. He went right down there with us, and it's obviously if nobody's been to Augusta Gymnasium, it's a very unique place. If anyone has watched the movie Hoosiers, it to me it kind of brings back memories and along the lines of that. So
now another gym I know you want to get to is Rupp Arena.
Absolutely.
What's the key?
Well, the thing with our region, there's about I don't know how many teams. There's so many teams that have a chance at winning the region this year. I think it's going to come down to execution. I mean, really, if you make it simple, execution on both ends of the floor. If we take great shots in the half court, we're going to give ourselves a great chance to get there. And if we take ill-advised shots, or we try to maybe get frustrated and take some quick looks, or if we take off possessions on the defensive end, other teams are good enough in our region to beat you on any given night. So it's just going to depend on, I feel like, which team gets hot at the right time.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks again for letting us come down here and go like the rest of the year.
Appreciate it.
All right, Hayden Rowe joins us, a guy that's been very steady this year for West Carter. Can you talk about your role this season and how it's really defined?
My role this season is, just kind of giving us that little spark that we need. It ain't, not scoring the basketball, but getting the ball into our big man Ben Jordan, or driving the ball and kicking it to our shooters D Brown, JT Johnson. Just give us that little spark to get us going during the game.
One thing about your team, it seems like, is free throw shooting has really improved. I know I was down here a couple weeks ago and saw the Boyd County game, and you were 16 of 17, I think, from the free throw line. So how much have you worked on that?
Well, beginning of the season, coming into the season, I was around 60%. So I stayed in the gym, after practice, and came in on days we didn't have practice, and shot about, 50 to 100 free throws every time, and that's really helped me out. And in practice, the whole team shoots a lot of free throws, and it helps us out in the game.
A lot of times it's easy to pick you out on the court because, for one reason, you play so hard, but another reason you got the goggles. So how long have you been playing with the goggles?
About 2 months into our sophomore year, we started. I had to get them. Yeah, I was going to go. My mom wanted me to go with contacts, but I figured it'd be nice to have the goggles.
There you go. Now, who do you like to watch as far as NBA, college? Who are some guys you really like to watch?
Kevin Durant in the NBA is probably my favorite player to watch. College.
You're a Kentucky fan, or not so much?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm a Kentucky fan.
Okay. Nobody specifically, though.
No,
okay.
specifically.
All right, I got kind of a fun game here. I think it'll be fun. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. but it's a name game. It's called Have You Heard Of? Okay, and I'm gonna name 3 people, 3 famous Haydens, and see if you've heard of them. Okay, let's go first with Joseph Francis Hayden. Have you heard of him?
No.
Oh, he was a composer who wrote over like 100 or 200 songs. So there you go. Back in the 1800s, I think. All right. What about Hayden Fox?
No.
All right. Anybody familiar with the TV show Coach? Hayden Fox was the coach. I'm not faulting you for not knowing these. You probably shouldn't know these. That goes back a little ways. And what about Hayden Panettiere?
Not a clue.
Okay. She was the little girl on Remember the Titans. Little blonde.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. She's not a little blonde anymore, as you see in the picture. Okay. Moving on. Ben Jordan coming up.
We're back at Hot Brown Court with Ben Jordan, listed at 6'9", center for the West Carter Comets. Listed at 6'9". Sometimes coaches will kind of inflate it a couple inches. Are you really 6'9"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6'9",
Yeah.
probably.
When did you first realize, of course that's really tall compared to the average, when did you growing up first realize that you were a tall kid?
I've always been tall. I've
Yeah.
always kind of struggled with finding clothes. So,
Right.
I don't know. I've just always
Yeah.
been a little bit taller than everybody.
Now, is that true of your shoes also? So you kind of got a big, what size foot are you?
16.
16 size shoe, okay. Is it hard to find size 16 shoes?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, I'd say so. Of course, also known for what you do on the baseball field. And what's it been like, kind of, obviously basketball ends and then you jump right into baseball. What are some of the ways that you kind of manage finding time to get everything in, fall ball as well, and everything that goes into both of those sports?
Well, usually in the fall, I take 2 or 3 months off from throwing. So I don't know. I really don't do much baseball-wise besides hitting, and that's an hour or so. So I'm able to focus on basketball in the fall through the winter. And coming up on baseball season, I'm in the cage and stuff, but I know it's basketball season right now, so I don't know. I focus on that.
Sure. On the basketball court, of course, you and Hayden Rowe combined to provide a pretty good, solid inside 1-2 punch. And what's it been like? You guys have really kind of a decent year last year, but it didn't end where you guys wanted to, and then just kind of sprang out of nowhere this year, one of the top teams in the region early on. What was building that into like this year for you guys?
Well, we didn't really have a good taste in our mouth after last year. It was so-and-so, just an iffy year, and we know we had a lot more talent than that, and so really worked. Mostly, I think, it was on our strength and size. And that's played a big role, and it's kind of hard if they double down on me. We always have Hayden to go to, and he's going to finish around the basket. If they double down on him, and then go to me, and then after they collapse down on us, that's when it goes back out to our shooters, and we have a bunch of good shooters on the team.
Right. Of course, ended last year, missed the district tournament with an injury, and then missed a little bit of this year with a thumb issue. What's it been like? What did you have to do to kind of work yourself back into shape and be ready to go again from this?
Well, my thumb injury wasn't major, so that was just a little bit of, movements and stuff, getting the mobility back. But my ankle, it was a pretty tough injury. I had to work pretty hard on while I was out, getting the mobility and strength back in my ankle because it was a pretty tough injury.
You guys are one of probably, if you look at the region, 5 or 6 or 7 teams that has a shot to really do something in the region tournament. A couple of big games left before then. What are you guys kind of working on at this point to keep kind of getting sharper and get ready for the postseason?
Well, let's just talk about execution. Mainly, it's not getting out of hand. We know that teams are going to go on runs on us, but we got to stop it at one point, and we just got to battle back. We know that, some teams are going to be hot some nights, and everybody wants to come out and beat us, and it's always competitive, but it's mainly about who's going to execute, who's going to be tougher. It's getting getting all the loose balls, getting rebound. It's, whoever, survival of the fittest. Whoever's ready to go.
All right. We'll be right back with Dalton Brown.
All right, back here at Hop Brown Court, which has a special ring to you. Hop Brown was your grandfather, so this is Dalton Brown. Dalton, you're a junior now, really coming into a zone, it seems like, is the team and you individually. Can you describe how far you've come along as a player?
We try really hard in practice and stuff, and we push each other. It's all started last year. We had a rough year and stuff. This fall we worked really hard. We all push each other, and we got our football players back, and that's helped us a lot.
A lot of times, Coach was talking about this too. the attention a lot of times is on the inside game for you guys. So how does that free up you guys as guards, with a lot of attention going to Hayden, Rowan, and Ben Jordan?
That helps us a lot. I mean, we run offenses to get them the ball, and whenever, they're double down on the end, that's when we come open and we knock down shots.
You look around at all these banners inside Hot Brown Court, and you see a lot of Browns on the banners. One being Kyle Brown, who's your uncle, 1,917 points, all-time leader in school history. So obviously you wear the same number too. So that number 41, that's running the family, hasn't it?
Yeah. I'm probably not quite as good as Kyle, but I do my best.
I will say sometimes watching you though, it might be the number, it might be just the way you look, but watching you sometimes you see a little bit of Kyle. So did you kind of model your game a little bit after him?
He's always picked on me as a kid. We always play basketball and stuff. But I think watching him a lot when I was growing up, that's kind of who I modeled my game after and stuff.
What do you feel like can be the difference for you guys down the stretch here in the last couple weeks to maybe lift you guys to somewhere you hadn't been before?
Well, definitely playing off Ben and Hayden. They get a lot of attention and probably draw the best defenders on each team. And, when they can't stop them, we obviously go inside, but when they double down and stuff, we take good shots and back out, run our offenses. And mostly, we really concentrate on setting screens and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what gets us open and gets them rolling off the basket and stuff.
All right, Dalton. Thanks a lot. All right, Zach, 2 for the road. Pitchers and catchers report next week.
That's one of the sweetest phrases in the English language.
I know. I love it. And one of the pitchers I want to talk about is Matt Latos. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a home yet. And I read an article last week on ESPN.com that he needs a team like the Reds. Mm-hmm. And the Reds need a pitcher like Matt Latos. Mm-hmm. Here's the catch. Matt Latos was a problem after he left the Reds.
Kind of burned that bridge pretty good, didn't he?
He really did. Yeah. He blasted management. He blasted leadership in the clubhouse. Mm-hmm. So can the Reds take a chance on somebody, bringing somebody like that back? While they do need some experience in the rotation, mm-hmm. he did struggle last season. He jumped around to several different places and really couldn't find what he was doing right there in Cincinnati, because mm-hmm. he did have a couple good seasons in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So did the Reds take a chance on a guy like that? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they might pull a trigger.
It'd be very telling to see if Walt Jocketty chooses to go that route, if they decide, hey, we just need innings eaters, regardless of if they're veterans, if they're not going to help us in the future.
And they tried to get Bronson Royal. It didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a weird situation because you're going into it, expectations are pretty low. Mm-hmm. They traded a lot of guys, or let a lot of guys go who were big parts of what they did 3, 4, 5 years ago because of the salary cap issue, small market, or the lack of a salary cap, rather.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how they go with that. Well, switching gears back to the round ball for a few minutes, watched a little bit of the tail end of the Spurs and Heat game mm-hmm. On TNT. I believe that was Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And, Greg Popovich is always very entertaining to watch, does a little between quarters
interview.
That's
the best part of the game.
And they should really just do away with that. Coaches don't want to do it. Reporters don't want to do it. But sometimes it's hilarious. Yeah. As in this case, it's justified. David Aldridge goes up there. He asks him a basketball question, and Popovich says something smarty pants like, well, they scored more points than we did that quarter. So it's like, thanks, buddy. And so Aldridge is just like, whatever. So he asked him about the New Hampshire primary that was also going on Tuesday night. You want to know the results of that? And he said he did, and Bernie Sanders was able to win that, the New Hampshire primary, mm-hmm. as well as Donald Trump, which are two people that you would think maybe a little bit surprising, and then just the look on Popovich's face after he heard that was pretty great. So just kind of, what we do in this business is sometimes, occasionally your interview subjects aren't necessarily as cooperative as you would like them to be, and that's on us to ask interesting, unique questions to get interesting, unique answers. And sometimes if a coach isn't giving you what you're looking for, then you got to kind of put them on the spot a little bit and see what you can do. So that actually worked out pretty well.
Do you hashtag Feel the Burn?
I have never done that.
All right.
I would try to keep our political tweeting to a minimum.
Okay. Well, look for hashtag HTPT on Twitter. This is HTPT, sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. And thank you to Coach Jeremy Webb and Dalton Brown, Hayden Rowe, Ben Jordan, and all the West Carter people for allowing us to come here on this snow day. And you're watching on dailyindependent.com. From Matthew Sparks, who left the building, Zack Klemme, and Aaron Snyder. We'll see you next week.